Yeah.
I've been doing that all day too.
I'm gonna start the meeting, call to order at 6 p.m. Roll call, Councilor Marquette's here, Councilor Steves,
Present.
Health Inspector Daniel Wasik,
Here.
Board of Health Member Daniel Grabowski,
Yes.
Citizen Member Kevin Buxton, Steve Gregoire,
Here.
Mark Latoy,
Here.
Kathy Grenier.
Here.
Minutes of March 2nd, 2023. Has everybody had a chance to look at them?
Yep.
Any objections, corrections? Go ahead.
Yeah, the one correction that I had was under item number 4, the last paragraph of page 4. Last full paragraph. You said, and I think what Anna was saying then was that the three the three companies that attended the pre-proposal meeting, not that they were the only ones who bid on it.
Okay.
Is that correct, Anna?
What was that last part?
I said that they were the three that attended the pre-proposal meeting. They weren't the only ones who bid on it.
Did you have one?
Well, at that time of that meeting, nobody had put in proposals.
Okay. So, but they were the only ones who attended.
The only ones
That's
that
right.
attended the meeting.
Because the way it was phrased, it sounded like that they were the only ones who bid instead.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yep. I got it. Thank you. I'll make that change. Anything else? All those in favor? Okay.
One abstention.
Okay. Tonight's agenda, I have approve applying for $35,000 through Community Compact Best Practices to complete a cost-benefit analysis of what the impacts of creating an enterprise fund for curbside collection will be. This was put together, there's Ms. Dean. In addition to the already approved request for $50,000 to complete a technology assessment for a total request of $85,000 in the Community Compact's Best Practice application. This is so we can hire a consultant to do a cost analysis. I don't know if they'll be able to do it in time for us, but I think it's still important that they do it. Ms. Dean, you like to talk about this?
This was not my brainy idea,
No?
no. So Councilor Marquetti emailed the town manager asking if there was any way the town could look into this as an opportunity after you had directly spoken with Sean Cronin at the Division of Local Services at the state level. Sean, and timing is on everybody's side with this.
Right.
Sean Cronin said you could apply for a best practice. We were already in the middle of applying for a best practice, and I had just been dragging my feet because I had my CDBG grant and my slum blight survey that I was working on. So I was planning on submitting it actually within that time period, and then was told you could actually apply for this in addition to what you're already applying for. So we were originally going for the $50,000 for the technology assessment, and then he said you can just add inside the application this extra $35,000 for this cost-benefit analysis. So it seems like a no-brainer if that's the direction you all think you should go.
I think so, yeah.
What's the time frame for actually knowing when we'll get that grant?
That's a great question, because he did say to you, it hasn't been necessarily appropriated in the governor's budget yet, or he said the '24 budget has this as a line item. So I'm assuming they all think it's gonna it'll be in there, and
But
we'll
the
be able to
problem-
use it
but
after July 1.
Well, that's the catch though, because we basically, the idea is that we kind of need to know this if we're going to put this in the ballot.
That's true, but I think we need to have this done anyway.
What is the procurement process?
The procurement, this would probably be something that you would do an RFP for. So you as a group should come up with what would be most, what would you be looking for from a provider? Would you want somebody who's done cost analysis for like projects in the past for similar amounts, which, and then you'd have to cast the net out to, potential consultants that could provide this service.
So there's no time frame. So I don't know that we can, I think it's after the fact.
Unfortunately, I think you're right.
I think it is too, but I think we should still do it, because
I
it
mean,
would be nice to know how much it's gonna cost the residents. And even though we say,
We'll know that with the RFP.
Yeah.
we'll know that with the RFP, but we don't know the total cost of it.
We have
Of
to
the
get,
whole thing,
right.
not just the RFP.
But even if you ask,
Billing,
right.
liability, equipment, everything, we need to know what that's gonna cost. So I think we should just go ahead with it. It's just a grant, it's not gonna cost us anything.
Well, it is,
The
because
grant
the
is-
information could cost us to know that, whether we made a poor decision on something, then it's after the fact. You're gonna put it out there to the world that you made a poor decision after the fact that we can't change it for whatever the term of the RFP
Well,
is.
this is just a grant. We can,
Oh,
in parallel, we can apply for someone to do this type of rate study for us, and the grant would help fund it after. But either way, we gotta get the rate study done to figure out what our
Possibly,
possibly costs gonna be. We can do those things in parallel.
that makes sense.
Go
Sorry.
ahead, Ms. Bean.
I was gonna say, I could have misunderstood when he made reference to the fiscal year '24, this could be awarded more quickly than that, and you could potentially have access to funds, but I know you still are looking at a June ballot?
Possibly,
Possibly,
Yeah.
yeah.
If it's in the taxes.
You could always rescind it if you were awarded, you don't have to go for it. I'm, not that I'm a huge advocate for that, but you have that choice too.
Yeah.
If the goal was to really only get it now.
I mean, is there any money left in the community compact from this current fiscal year?
I don't know at the state level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can email him right now and copy in Marquette, Counselor, the Honorable
The
Counselor.
Honorable.
Counselor Marquette.
Good catch, Greg.
Yeah.
I get emails, I get emails all the time, the Honorable Council.
Cracked herself
I
up before
I
she.
slept once, and so as a wise guy, he came down to the basement and threw an envelope in front of me. It said, "The Honorable Counselor Marquette." So now I will try to use that.
And his
Very
head will
good,
get
very
bigger
good.
and bigger.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The nose closed.
Go ahead, Councilor.
Are we
Councilor
still,
Buxton.
we're still talking about having a portion of this coming from the tax base?
Well, we'll talk about that when we get to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So what do you think? I'm in favor of it.
Can't hurt.
No,
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
I mean,
All right.
yeah.
So all those in favor? Thank you. Thanks, Meg.
Okay?
Yep.
So it goes to town council on
Goes
the
27.
27th, and then we'll apply the week after that. In the meantime, we'll send an email to Sean Cronin to get a better idea for timeline. Does that sound
Okay,
good?
yeah. All right,
Keep up the
thank
good
you.
work. I know this isn't an easy project for any of you.
All right, thanks.
Thanks,
You're
Greg.
welcome.
Thanks, Mike.
Bye. You're welcome, man. See you later.
Agenda item number 5, presentation by Assessor's Office Principal Clerk Francine Farland on billing.
She was here a second ago.
Just stuff right there,
I'll
so.
grab her.
Wait till I tell Scott.
Yeah, I know. I get these things from,
That's a pinnacle right there.
That's-
You're reaching,
that's-
that's a
I like
top.
Meeting's the
That-
27th, right?
that's-
Bunch of said
Town council.
24th. Yeah, well, no, I'm just looking, Monday's the 27th. I said 24th.
it was a.
You know you
it was
made
a-
it.
Friday,
it was
so I'm
actually
like, that can't
Her
be.
discussion was gonna go to
Right.
council.
Oh, yeah.
The
That's on the
Honorable
27th,
Councilman
yeah.
Ricketti.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Of course, it's junk mail, so.
No, this wasn't. It's a calendar. I think that's
2
just,
minutes, she
I've never seen it through
that's the
this.
proper way to address elected officials, I guess.
It doesn't matter.
While we're waiting, could you give us an update of the, how is the senior meeting?
Senior meeting is good. There was not a big turnout, but they asked good questions. Daniel was there.
Yeah, very good
Daniel
questions.
Grabowski was there, so we gave a presentation. I gave out samples of bags.
Mm-hmm.
They asked questions like, what happens if somebody dumps their bag in my toter? I didn't have an answer for that. How are you gonna make them buy the bags? How are you gonna make them sign up or pay the fee, pay the flat fee? Those are the basic questions they had.
Yeah.
I think what I got from them, this group there, but I've heard it from others, they just want us to keep it simple. That's all they said.
Simplicity, I think they emphasized that. And they were also concerned, with identifying the bag. How's that gonna be?
Yeah.
What if there's people that are buying different bags or over,
Yeah.
So we did clarify that, but very good questions,
Yeah, they
a
were.
bit of good enthusiasm,
Hmm?
and, yeah, it's a good
Now I'm
discussion.
meeting next week, Tuesday, with the Hispanic group at the same place.
How are you? Is
You
that
want
all?
us to
You talked to
9:30.
Sabrina?
9:30?
9:30 with Sabrina,
Okay.
and then,
I'll be there for that one.
and then
9:30?
Wednesday, 9:30 at the senior
What's the
center.
date on next week? 9:30?
It's the 21st.
Oh, shoot. Oh, I
Yes,
get
I
a
will
doctor's
be.
appointment. I'll try.
I was gonna say, my husband's going in for a procedure, but I'll
I
be
get a
there at
physical at
9:30
7:30.
anyway,
I should be.
I think. I
And
don't know.
then,
Yeah,
I
the
have no idea what the
22nd,
hell my
Wednesday
schedule
at
is anymore.
5:30 with the downtown
I
partnership.
got in today, I looked at my bladder and went, shit, I had a
So
COA
5:30
meeting
with
at
the
that
downtown
at,
partnership,
1
and
o'clock.
if you
That's
can
why I
come to
haven't
that
even
too,
been
if you
home.
want.
5:30,
Fins and tails
So we
with
had
the
a COA
downtown
meeting and then I
partnership.
went
so
to
that's the
Trinity,
following
so
night,
I'm
that's
here.
a Wednesday.
21st is Tuesday, the 22nd is with,
when I saw you.
with the downtown partnership, 5:30.
I was.
Now, you said something about landlord association, but I think that's the same
So
thing.
the lady back there,
Hopefully it's
one
safe.
second, or Hey, you wanna sit here into the hot seat? We all want in there, here, how you? Hello.
Welcome, welcome.
Okay. This is my set, so. I only have 5 sets, so I don't know who wants, this is more probably helpful to you. So, Rich is,
We got there?
yeah, so, and the chairman,
Is this one the same stuff that we did joint up?
Oh,
No.
different size.
No.
Yeah.
so I will explain, but it's more for you as the chairman.
I don't have one. Can I have one, please, Francine?
Yeah, so you'll have to share them, because I didn't know how many to make.
Those are the parcel lists. You go?
And I have 20 of these, so there should be, so if you can,
I'll just pass that.
right, pass them around, go this way, pass them around. And they are color printed. I did 20 of them, so somebody's.
Yeah, this is
Now you just
I
get
got one,
those.
thank you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Who's, okay. That's all I have. So, I did 20, I didn't, or I asked
No,
the
it's the
town
same
manager's
one.
office to do
I saw
20.
it already.
Oh, is this the one you already presented, I heard about?
Okay, and then, this only has so many blank pages.
This was found in the copy room, so I don't know if it's.
Yeah, it's cut
your
off.
originals.
This is my sheet.
Okay.
That's why I was back there having problems with the thing, the photocopier. So before I get into the presentation, I have surveyed this, we talked about in Gen Gov,
Yep.
because the couple of Gen Gov members talked about population and comparing our town to other towns. So all 351 towns are listed with all their populations, which of course I didn't print that, but this is a sheet of local towns, so, jeez. This is more for you and for you. Again, I only have 5 copies, so I don't know who wants to share, but, okay.
What's the information?
So it's supposed to be printed in color, and I had problems. So the first one, of course, Charlton, which doesn't have trash anyway. Clinton does have trash, and they use, my first thing, if you go down the column that says funded, right here, I surveyed as many as I could get an answer from, and they all use enterprise fund for water, sewer, and trash.
Good.
Okay? There is one that uses it, does it through, what do you call that, general revenue or general fund or whatever, and they regret that decision. And I can't say who it is because that person did not want to be named.
That's the general fund is taxes,
Yeah,
right?
that means the money pours back into the
I
same
know,
fund as
both of them
taxes.
are.
Right, it goes, the enterprise fund
Yep.
is an accounting mechanism that keeps track of the expenses and money, and it should not be used for anything other than trash or like the
Related costs.
transfer, whatever the cost, or the, what do you call it, transfer station, anything to do with
Right.
disposal, removal, illegal dumping, anything like that.
Yeah, a bunch of
Okay.
years ago, people.
Right, so instead of it going
Water,
into
sewer
general
money being used for business.
fund or whatever, then the money is kind of mishmashed with everything else. Okay, go ahead. So, Dudley, of course, didn't finish my survey. Framingham, same thing. I'm waiting for some of these people still to call back, and some I had a very lengthy conversation. But Gardner was one of the ones at the Gen Gov that I talked about,
Yep.
that they do water, sewer, and trash, munis utility billing, enterprise funded. So they are a good example to compare to. Holden is the same central billing. They do water, sewer, electric, trash, recycling, and solar. But they are much more IT advanced, or what do you call it, infrastructure advanced. My brother lives there, can't stand his bill. But anyway, he goes to a tax collector every month. Enough said there, right? So, Leominster, I've got no, right, is on the taxes, I think. Yes. And Lowell, It's hard for me to read it now.
I think that's on tax.
They're on their tax bill, I think, or
That's what
their
it says enterprise.
It says
What is
enterprise, right.
Um,
So they do regional billing for multiple towns, much like we do,
ours is,
because we do for water and sewer, Southbridge, Sturbridge, and Charlton.
Yeah.
Part of, more in Charlton than Sturbridge.
We're pretty close to it.
Marlboro is 5 different departments to get the answer, but anyway, their funds, I put it in there. Their funds are included in the general fund. Please don't repeat that, that person told me that, okay? That town, but anyway. Raham, I talked to them, and they are self-pay, a transfer station, water billing, is a private software, very customized for them, because they're very small. They have like 1,300 water and sewer accounts on the north side and 800 on the south side of the town. And it's the infrastructure that separated it. The one was older than the other, and they don't want to pay to connect them.
That's
So,
what Oxford did.
Then we go to Salisbury, which I had talked to Gen Gov. They converted July 1st, 2022. So they are billing water and sewer, and I think Dave and the guy I talked to was trying to figure out trash, but that's up for discussion. Spencer, Mass. has a transfer station, and they have residents that have private haulers. I think that was a lady. They also have the pay-as-you-throw, that they go to a transfer station, get their bags, and off they go. So, Springfield, Mass., let me go back to them. Sturbridge, I thought, had moved to DPW. I was corrected today. They have a transfer station, again, private haulers for trash and the pay-as-you-throw. Warren is private haulers, same transfer station, pay-as-you-throw. I think, yeah, because Rachel lives there. So Webster, Mass. is Enterprise Fund for Water and Sewer, but they have private haulers for their trash. And Worcester is Casella, because that was asked at the Gen Gov meeting, but they are Casella as their haulers.
For recycling.
Yeah, for recycling only. What's interesting to them is that the DPW are town employees that pick up the trash in the city of Worcester.
They do that in Clinton too. So
In
those are
Clinton,
my two.
right, yeah, so in Clinton.
And
Now, Springfield,
here.
being a city, I thought they split it between the 3, like real estate tax bill, flat fee, and pay-as-you-throw, but no. They only do pay-as-you-throw, according to the tax collector, pay-as-you-throw. They used to have a water and sewer department, but based on Munis's setup, which is what I'm trying to fix, Gus, with the state thing, with the codes, right? They had the same issue. They have the same version, 2019. I was on the phone with the guys for 45 minutes. So now they don't have a water sewer department. They farmed it out. Water and sewer is now managed, like you guys, right? I don't know if it's one company, I
Nobody's
think.
as good as us, so.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, so it's a separate entity. The city of Springfield gets no money from the water and sewer, because it was so messed up. They washed their hands and said, here you go, basically, you know. So we talked at quite a bit of length about the software, and he confirmed what I have to do to fix the state thing, along with other things. So the thing with them is that they are only charging $90 per year for trash. If that is too low, they are in a deficit. Okay? So that's what this tax collector guy was saying, that the DPW has been making up the difference in his budget, line item or something, and
You're
it's
talking
not
about
well,
Springfield?
huh?
You're talking about Springfield?
Right. That's,
Yeah, because in some cases, that's the way it's planned out to be. Sometimes when you start a program, is a portion of it is supposed to be on the taxes, and then the other portion
right.
is the flat.
Well, the mayor made it part of his whatever campaign promise to get it to not be on the tax bill, to get rid of it, to be, you know, and it's been since 2011, and everybody's paying a flat fee for their tax, for their trash.
So what do we gotta do here?
Yep. So, if you go to the presentation, we have the option to do it in the DPW, in Munis. I have set up codes, on a spreadsheet, because it has to be tested. So just on the first page of the presentation, the second page, this is testing with the collector's office for something else, so you can skip. And upgrade, skip that. I'm trying to go to the page that's, so there's a page that says training and munis utility module was quoted 8/16/22. It's expired. I presently, Francine, have a 2-day session scheduled on April 3rd and April 10th with PACE training previously paid. In other words, it's not going to cost us anything for me to work with Tyler Tech, but the priority is to fix the issue that we have between Tyler Cashiering and Munis. It has nothing to do with trash. There's several issues that have to be fixed in the software, before that. The work order program that I talked about at Gen Gov, I had Mark Latoy came in. Yeah, Mark Latoy?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Oh my God. I'm like, okay. So he came in and clarified it's not used. The work order program in Munis is not used by the water school department. So I'm just correcting that. So the following page, Holden, Mass. Had centralized billing. Gardner, Mass., which is the one I mentioned out of here, which is our kind of comparable. Leominster and Munis is utilized, and Springfield, Mass. We talked about the other town split back. So I'd like you to go to the page that looks like this, near the back. Okay. So, in the system, there are 3676 existing accounts for water and sewer. There are 3802. I subtracted out the accounts that have to do with condos and have dumpsters, okay? Which nets us to 3676 existing water and sewer accounts, okay? And I didn't print the page I'm working on. But I can create, because in Munis, 2019's version does not mention trash. 2021's version does. But as a flat miscellaneous fee, which when you do a miscellaneous fee, it goes away. It's not recurring, okay? So I want to set it up, based on my experience, as recurring fees to bill every quarter, if that's the pricing structure we go with. So this sheet talks about the codes, curbside 1, curbside 2, of course 1 family through 6 family, okay? And of course those 6 amounts are a guess. And then the demand fee, final calculation of prorated fee, a lien fee, which have to be done because for the treasurer's office to lien it against the taxes. And then the toters, the green or the black toters, as far as we sell them some or we replace it, whatever our pricing structure is. Then illegal dumping, which I base those fees based on water and sewer. We have illegal usage fees for water and for sewer. So I just did it the same, 500 and 1,500. It's a flat fee. I did talk to the DPW, Mr. Benoit, before that all happened. But anyway, he agrees. We talked about the illegal dumping fee. So he agrees that if the town has a problem with illegal dumping, if his guys go to pick it up, he says it makes total sense in theory. So you go, the guys, you or whomever see illegal dumping, if you have evidence, you take a picture, employment, whoever is employed by the town. DPW goes there, picks up the refuse or whatever, goes to the public scale, gets weighed, so therefore there's documentation of the weight or the cubic yardage of the illegal dumping paraphernalia. Unloads the truck, goes back, gets another empty weighing, the weight. So they have a before and after, right? So the difference, of course, is what was in the back of the truck.
This is part of the problem is we need a public scale. We need partial or transfer stations to some extent set up so that we have the ability to store our containers and we have the ability to set up a scale and be able to weigh it and have documentation.
Okay.
So that's where we.
I just don't think you'll have that within a year.
No.
Right.
so
But
let's
you-
let-
Why
let's let
can't
her-
we
let's let her
use some of
finish
that?
it. Let her finish.
Okay. So on this sheet, The next sheet, which is important for us to discuss tonight, because it's fast approaching, these are the 4 billing cycles with the utility billing, okay? So, if you guys or whomever, the town council votes to make it effective January 1st, I'm throwing the date out there, 2024.
Yeah.
That billing would not go out until May. Okay, so bear that in mind that, to get that revenue, if you're doing a service period, which, you can't do it any later.
Right.
Because you need some revenue. If you do it any later, the next billing cycle will not go out until August of '24. So it goes out every 4 months. The meters are only read once every three months, at the end of
End of each quarter.
end of each quarter, June, September, December, and why did I put March? I put April. That's a typo. That last one should be 3/30/24.
But
Anyway.
why would we need to wait for the water sewer bills?
Because you can't, it's one bill cycle.
One bill. It's on
It's on, to get it on that bill, with these rate codes,
Right.
you have to run the bill cycle. And I could, to test it, I can do one route.
Right.
But I have to send the file to the water department to make sure that none of these codes got on their read file to read meters.
Okay.
That they're not coming up with any kind of error messages because of these error codes.
Right, that makes sense.
Or these codes,
Sure.
number one. Okay,
All right, go ahead.
So are we talking back about doing this through the assessor's office?
that's up for I'm talking
I
about the
mean, that-
software.
Right, no, I'm saying, but
Somebody
if we upgraded the software, where are we talking about?
I don't know, that's up to you guys.
Oh, it's a cost.
She's just here to talk about the bill.
No, I get
So-
it, but like,
Are we saying that this version of Munis, with what you've done with it, can get the job done?
I don't know until April 3rd and April 10th.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically, I'm in a better place than I was when
Yeah.
we spoke with Gen Gov last month, or whatever day it
Right.
was. Basically, also, I'm in a better place with that state thing because I spoke with Springfield.
Good.
And he's confirmed what should have been done,
Okay.
because it wasn't done for them. They had the same issue. So, and they have the same version with the same problems, so today I was like tap dancing because I was like, oh my God, I'm right, I'm not.
so if we had to, if that's where this is, if Francine led that, now would we have to get somebody else for assessing?
Oh, yeah, well, you need somebody else to even help.
Well, I understand, I'm just trying to, I just wanna know, like what is needed to make this happen,
Well,
like,
this is why we want to hire someone to do
Right,
it.
As-
another
as-
person, I had
as-
talked with,
I know, but we're not gonna have time.
We will have time before January to get that done. That's why we want.
I know last time I talked to the manager, he said that his thoughts are, as soon as he gets the budget done, is one of the things he wants to do is actually look at putting this into the collector's office.
no, I will not go there. I'm
You don't-
sorry.
You don't necessarily have to go there.
No, I'm the
somebody
person that
just-
knows the
Why don't we
job.
let Francine finish her?
Yeah,
That's
first?
I will
what he's
not,
talking
I will
about.
not
Okay,
work
Francine.
under that, in that office with that
Continue,
woman.
continue.
I'm sorry,
That-
I'll walk
that's a
out right
different
now.
issue. That's a different issue.
I will walk out right now.
Thank you very much, Council Steve.
That's what
Sorry,
he's talking
but that is a very sore,
He raised other issues about people that need to be
fine.
corrected.
so
Like
anyway.
I'm sitting in the
So
town meeting.
my biggest thing is your, what do you call that thing, the bylaw, but determining what department head has the authority to grant or deny an abatement. If I post to the wrong account, I need an authority. I cannot be the billing person
Oh, right, you
and
said that, yeah.
the abatement
Would be the
approval
treasurer
person,
collector,
right?
I believe.
No, it should be,
Somebody does.
because in 10 of the towns,
Hold
it's
on.
been the health department. I'm
The
sorry.
health department.
Yeah,
Let's
yep,
let her
health.
finish.
Add it to the list.
Yeah, so unfortunately, but, and some people, it's the DPW,
Okay.
but that's because they go and pick up the trash or the illegal dumping, or the, so it's the
All right,
health department, DPW, and the billing person that work hand in hand. So basically,
And that's why we should really technically be at DPW. because
Right.
the Water and sewer is the big beast, the billing beast. The
Right.
trash is gonna be a simpler element, once it's up and running.
okay, yeah, I will get to Kevin, but I want to just let Francine finish up.
Yeah.
yes, so the thing is, it needs to be decided what service period, what effective date this goes into effect, and what price, of course. So, and bear in mind, there are only 3 billing cycles left for me to test.
Right.
So, you know, we're under the gun here to me, because if testing doesn't go good, then what do you do?
Sure.
You know, so whether you farm it out or not, I'm 75% there. I'll finish with my other, as far as these things, but decisions have to be made as far as general ledgers. When do we start it? What is the fee? What, you know, but at least what I have for a structure, I can create what's called a fake, you know what I mean, in our test environment, train environment, which I already talked with Victor. He has the authority to copy or request the file to be copied. So when I meet with the people from Tyler Tech on April 3rd and April 10th, then I can ask these questions more in depth.
If you're gonna bill somebody, bill Steve Gregg while he lives the closest to you.
Yeah.
It can be a test, not test.
So the second packet, okay? So the second packet is, if you look at this, there's Gardner. This is more to do with your trash procedures, what do you call it, the bylaw thing? Bylaw, trash from Gardner. And I didn't go through all these. I'm just giving you copies. I can make other sets for others. This is Holden. Holden gave us a, you know, bill that's kind of customized because she's Jane Doe or John Doe. She didn't want to give us anybody's bill. Okay. This is from somebody I went to high school with, a Mark Turner from Rayburn, Mass. They do a monthly pickup where they have to pay themselves, and they pay every 3 months $138. So they are $46 a month for, right? And he said, doesn't matter who you go to, if you do individual, if you have to have your residents do individual contracts to pick up their trash, they're expensive no matter where you go.
Oh, yeah.
So it's better, he said to me, even when I was at my reunion committee meeting, it's better if your town organizes the contract, nobody's doing their own individual contract, getting in this neighbor's paying this from this guy, and that one's paying this from this guy. If you all pay the same rate, and I said about a single family, 2-family, he says, to me, that's the way to go, so that your neighbors are in the cul-de-sac are not arguing because I got a 2-family, you know, and LaBeouf is charging me 15, you know, whatever, and LaBeouf comes to my house and charges me $80. I said, well, that's between the two people, but it's like a cul-de-sac war. But anyway, another town, these are just examples of utility billing, other states, Arizona and Texas, because that's where I got.
So you'll be able to do a test with the way that we do it.
Sorry?
You'll do a test with our own billing.
Correct.
process. All right. So,
Right. So, just from a trash perspective, the town of Simsbury, which is Southbridge, which is the one that converted recently, they hand out a list of approved haulers. So if somebody opts out, as you were saying, they should be, because that's what, this town requires that everybody do it. So when they get into town, here's your welcome packet, here you go.
Should send you over there.
You know, they probably have to pull a permit with the town to be a hauler.
Right.
Yeah.
Your town already has one.
Right, they have a regulation.
Uh-huh.
So the city of
They already have
Leominster
one already.
does a solid waste. There's a curbside program sheet from Leominster as well, okay? So now I get on to the nitty-gritty, I lost my paper clip, okay. The next section, I went through, Rachel sent me a list of, thank you, or spreadsheets of single-family, 2-family, 3-family, you know, et cetera. So I've gone through those sheets, and, which some of you have copies of. I got multiple 6-families, so I don't know why. Okay. So, in Vision, unfortunately, there are parcels in there with for example, 2 6-families on one lot. Okay? So, in the spreadsheet here, what I've done is go through Rachel's spreadsheet and add the water and sewer account numbers to verify we have existing accounts. Okay? And some of these, she had come up with, or Vision came up with 62 single families. I come up with 64. Because right across the street from me, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right on Mechanic Street. Two of them, two sets of two are on one lot. You know, I know Perry's Block, Watu, Gendre. I know the family names that owned them when I was a kid. So I knew, you know, who was who and said, wait a minute, where is this one, where is that one? Okay. So the other one is the 5 families. I went through those as well, and I matched the 32 account. On my sheet, the ones that are in yellow are the ones that I am questioning, that I would need to come to you or to the water department because I need to know, or the DPW to say what house number belongs to what 1 family or 3 family or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I don't have that in Munis. I don't have, if it's a 1 family, 2 family, 3 family, I don't have any of that. And of course, talking to support, there's no option for it. Because what we use, the field that they would think of to use that for is commercial, industrial, residential, you know. So I can only put it in manually and I don't have the time right now. So, so looking at, which I didn't do my spreadsheet, I didn't print off the right one, but the total of accounts that Rachel had through Vision, forgot what it was, but the variance is like 300 and something accounts that I would, that I would have to create accounts in water and sewer or utility billing to bill for trash.
That
Whereas
don't
before
have
you
water
guys,
and
huh?
sewer. That don't have water and sewer.
Correct.
An additional 300
Accounts.
homes right now.
Correct.
Correct, okay.
Because they're septic, or what do you call it, septic or, well and septic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna, there are some that are sewer only and metered,
It's
but
definitely
I
best.
also have not gone through all the accounts yet either.
All right,
So, okay. So, again, the priority for me for testing is that to build the codes that I talked about in this presentation, I need general ledger numbers. Okay? Because, or I should say, the software needs general ledger numbers. Now, the live database is gonna be copied next Friday for me to do testing with these people. So I don't wanna keep doing double work. If the GLs are created, and if we don't go with enterprise funding or whatever, they're still GLs, it doesn't matter what type of fund we call it, it's still GL, general ledger numbers, okay? But they have to be different than water and sewer, so that when I run the test, I can see, this is water and sewer, this is trash.
Right.
I build 53 accounts as test, I should have this amount
Right.
in this fund,
all right.
you know?
Right.
And the same thing with the payment. So I did send an email to the accounting person regarding it, but it's not like there's just 2 accounts that she has to give me. There's like 8 general ledger numbers she has to go through, and so that's really where I stand.
Okay,
And I think, you know, I'm in a better place to move this forward if I'm given the information I need.
all right.
Okay.
So, which is, you know, so,
I'm gonna go with Kevin. Kevin,
okay, if you guys have questions.
Question, it's great to see all this work, advanced work being done, but there was some discussion about the ambulance service billing being outsourced and possibly doing the same with water and sewer as well as the curbside. Is that still something?
That's what was at the first Gen Gov meeting, that's where Martina Shea asked me. And at that point, I said, I cannot answer that question unless I have time to research. Now I have researched it, I feel it could be done in-house in our software.
Okay.
Not just with one person though, that's the thing. It's the data that comes over from different departments. There has to be a secondary person that if I'm out, that can do the job.
Absolutely.
okay. You all set, Kevin?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
That's where my whole thing revolves around, like, Francine's gonna put the time in, she's putting in the time now, which is coming out of her regular job.
Yes,
So now, like, what is the end result? Like, if we're even gonna talk about having her run a test and send us down this path, that she would lead her own department of billing, then what do we need to do? First of all, does Francine need a helper? Does she need comparable person, whatever,
Yeah.
like, what's that salary look like?
Part-time.
Now,
Oh,
does,
sure,
does the assessor's office
Right.
need, some type of assistant, and what does that salary look like? Now,
Yes.
how do we come up with,
I do think that we can, it'll be tough, I'm not gonna lie. It'll be tough to lose a staff member, because, you know, she's valuable. We have brought in, if I can keep Mark doing inspections like he's been doing, we have him right now temporarily hired through our revale account. Because that's been the harder part, is for us to get in the field, because literally I've had to cancel inspections because water and sewer issues come up a lot. It's really becoming a problem.
Yeah.
And I need to be in the field. That's, I need to
So-
be inspecting and evaluating service. So I may or may not, I think I might be able, if I need to replace her, it would be with a part-time person, and I would have to keep Mark.
but my thing is I think through ARPA, we can fund a salary that would be beneficial as a startup for this program, at least to find out whether you actually need help or you don't. We could do that through ARPA, because that's in the ARPA criteria,
Okay.
correct?
You have to
You're on
ask
the ARPA
Dave.
committee, right?
Yep, well, I just joined it, but you'd have to ask Dave Adams. what the
It's in there.
It's
It
in
it is in
I've
there.
reviewed it.
Water, sewer.
It is in-
Well,
That
at
would
this
be a
point-
No,
at
no,
this point- at
a
this point-
salary can be
well,
funded through
At this
ARPA.
point, we can use ARPA for anything.
Okay,
Well, let's not go quite there,
I'm just saying we
Alright.
can.
but, I mean, it's supposed to be for infrastructure
Yes.
or for a salary, and this would be infrastructure, we're trying to do it in-house.
so
Also
do
through
you have a
ARPA, we,
question, or are you just making a suggestion?
my thing is,
Me or him?
also through ARPA, we could fund somebody for Francine. The suggestion
Thank you.
or the question, the suggestion or the question is,
It was always in
is
the budget.
you can't, we can't keep having Francine do all this work and at the end pull the plug,
Pull the
like
plug, yeah.
either tonight or whatever. We need to decide that if she's done all this work, she's 80% certain that this process can go through, she needs to test it, she needs some information, like we need to either agree that we're gonna try and do it in-house, or we're gonna stop this fishing expedition and go outsource and let her go back to the assessor's office. It's not fair to her or the assessor's office.
You're good.
That is true.
So,
Are you all
you know,
set?
the outsourcing thing, because somebody had brought that up to me in the hallway, to say that we could outsource it for a year and then come back and bring it back to me. I said, no. I've already gone through a conversion. I'm not gonna go and do all this work and send it to, you know, you send it to a company, it has to stay with that company, no matter what it costs.
For a while.
To have it come back to me all screwed up, no.
Listen
So,
to that.
if I'm gonna do it, if I screw up, it's my screw up, you know what I mean?
I'm gonna
And
go with Steve next.
So, two-part question. What was Gen Gov's opinion on, or did they discuss restructuring with the building department, or where did that go?
That's,
We were talking about it, the problem is at this point, it's very kind of down the road.
Okay.
I have talked to the manager about it, and he's saying that his immediate priority is the budget,
Right, of course.
immediately. And he was talking, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, one of the things that he wants to look at is actually putting this building in the treasurer collector's office.
Okay.
Doesn't
So-
necessarily mean that
so-
you go there, Francis.
So that being
It just
said,
means that he says, he thinks that there's a little extra leeway in that office to do some of this stuff.
So the question is,
So, okay,
what is general
staying in
government?
so that being said, that was part one. So really, to answer part one, since there's no real set vision right now, as of today, if we did it today, it would be in the assessor's office.
At the moment.
If we
maybe-
did it today, if we turned the
Right.
switch on, it's our building.
Yeah.
We'd have to make it work.
The question, I would have to ask
Right,
Rachel.
which is not what we want, I get that.
Right.
One at a time, please.
So,
Go ahead.
it kind of leads me down the road of some of the things I was gonna bring up later, but I think each department is gonna have to, in the next, preferably before the next meeting, but we need to know from health department, what are your staffing needs gonna be?
Yeah.
What are your salary needs gonna be? If the assessor's office is gonna handle this in the near future, what would your staffing requirements be? Do you want one person, do you want two person? What would your salary budget look like?
Right.
Like, there are some real targets we need to start to hit real soon, or we're gonna get in trouble.
Yes.
So I think we
Yeah.
need to set agendas for each department to come back to us and say what they need for us to move forward properly, or else we're just spinning our wheels.
Does
correct.
that come
Agreed,
to this
agreed.
committee, or it should just go right to him for the budget? And it should go
Ultimately, it needs to go into the budget, that's true.
Right.
Right.
And the issue with that, so have you talked to the manager about that? about those kinds of needs.
No, because it's hard to talk about anything.
She
without
doesn't
decisions
need, she doesn't
being
need the
made.
help, she doesn't need the help unless Francine pulled out of her
Right.
office.
So I think
this
one of these
decision-
committees needs to come to some hard decisions
Yes.
to say, for now, assessors is doing it, boom, we need 2 staff members out of the enterprise account, we need to build it into, we're have to look at where our RFP price is gonna be, what staff DPW needs, what staff assessing needs, what staff health department needs, other, question mark, and we need to know that information sooner rather than later, so
And
some of
this
these
is why
department
we asked
heads.
for a cost analysis to do
Correct.
this. Because that's not something that this committee,
I-
But each
It's
department
going to
head
be
should
a-
make their recommendations on top of, but you're absolutely right, Mike, absolutely right.
It needs to go to the town administrator
Right.
right away, so it gets into the budget right now.
Okay.
You know you need to make sure that
I think
her
because
position is
we're-
full-time.
I think
You
because
know
we're
you
gonna be
need
making
part-time.
potentially making an enterprise account, a new account's gonna have a new budget, so it may
Yeah.
not have to hit the budget crunch we're doing right now, because this will be a whole new enterprise account, and there'll be a budget created
And if-
regardless of when
Yeah.
it gets created. It's
And
like
if the salaries are funded through ARPA,
The problem
But that
is-
won't be
In
permanent
the
either.
interim.
no, it won't be
It's just a
permanent,
one-time
but
deal.
it is a one-time deal, but if the initial salary, the start, is funded through ARPA,
Right,
then it wouldn't hit the budget.
correct.
Right.
But actually, it will still eventually hit the budget.
Eventually, but it gives us,
Eventually,
it gives us a window.
Yeah.
Are you all done?
I am
Very
done,
careful
thank
of
you.
not
Buffer.
doing-
Gus, did you have a question?
I didn't have a specific question, I was just gonna come into what he was saying, is that, I understand your point, and that we might be able to do that. I think we need to be concerned about trying to start salaries on something that we know is going to disappear.
We do it all the time.
We shouldn't be doing that.
Well, it happens all the
The
time.
goal of any program here, if it's gonna be flat fee completely or flat fee with bags or
Yeah.
taxes, that you will, really, the flat fee should cover the staffing.
Yeah,
And that's the
exactly.
whole
Absolutely,
purpose of
absolutely.
an enterprise fund is anybody that touches the paper
Yeah.
gets paid by, gets paid
By the
by
fund,
that,
yeah.
that fund.
Even more than just the staffing, because staffing is gonna be, compared to disposal costs and.
Oh, yeah, that's probably all in the
Yeah,
enterprise
that will be
fund,
in there.
too.
It has always
It's
been
all
in there.
yes.
It's just the question of how much. So the other question is, if I can just say, what is the upgrade? What is that cost for you? That's
The 2021, I have no idea, that is,
like, is it $10,000?
that's,
For Munis to be upgraded to the 2021.
I don't know, Victor's the one working on that, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have those numbers.
so we, going forward,
That
you
needs
need to have the IT
whether
person
it's
at these
Yeah.
meetings.
Right.
So that's
You know,
really
Gen
separate.
Gov and this meeting,
Correct.
he
Okay.
needs to be here.
Yeah.
All
So,
right, anybody else
because
have any
that
questions?
question keeps coming up and I have no answer,
Right.
so.
I have just one.
Go ahead, Mark. Yeah.
If we use ARPA for that one-time use, it gives us the opportunity to find out whether the assessor's office actually needs that person that we're gonna fund.
Mhm.
I'd hate to fund a job through something to find out that, it's not, this is a good way to figure out what we exactly need. Maybe she doesn't need a part-time person, maybe it
All
could
right,
fund.
yeah. And I have put in for ARPA funds.
Could we send a recommendation up to council? Or maybe we can't even send up to council
We can, but
for
what?
a temp employee, from a temp agency,
Well, let's hold
funded
off.
by ARPA,
Let's wait
just to
until
help
we-
that office.
All right, let's wait until we know what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
What we're gonna
So
choose.
there's one sheet we didn't really review. So, you don't have to read it, I'll just explain, but we talked about the new department at Gen Gov being the central billing. I just want to go over the new department. Would process billing for water, sewer, fire protection, cross connection, which is what I do, the clerk presently does. With the data or documentation received from the DPW director, which we don't know, the water and sewer departments respectively. And sometimes the health department. The new department would ultimately, this was Mr. McCall's suggestion in a previous meeting, in the future process billing for a curbside collection program, possibly inventory of the toters, illegal dumping fees, and I have illegal fees, but that should be from them, not here.
Right.
The MS4 drainage program, which I know nothing
It's
about.
future.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
future, but it still
Yep.
could be added on to, in my opinion, if it can be done in the utility billing, right? The other thing is the 21D tickets from the police department, which is what McCall brought up. Just to let you know, Matt Fenton in the collector's office he has set it up, he has tested it, He has worked, with Tyler Support, took it under his wing. He is now even charged, Mark Genero is in there as a senior volunteer, and he is entering in the system. Somebody came up to pay, before, they wouldn't have the tickets in the system.
Oh, okay.
It would be in a box.
Okay.
So a taxpayer comes up, they're pulling the thing, they still have, then they gotta enter it in the computer,
Yeah.
then make the payment.
So
Now
it
they're
sounds
all
to me
entered
like
it.
You're
Huh?
going to need a billing service no matter what we do. You're still gonna need a billing department.
Well, I mean, if we do,
Department, definitely, it's not something that can be handled within,
Right.
yeah.
Even
no,
if we decide not to do enterprise, you're still gonna need a billing
It's,
department.
it's really necessary.
So I don't see why you
Yeah.
don't go forward with that and talk to the town manager.
Yeah.
yeah. And the same
Well,
thing he
I don't
does
think
there.
you're wasting your
started going-
time. I don't think she's wasting her time looking into this.
No, she's not.
No, not at all, not at all. That's
Yeah.
why I've encouraged her and I wanted her
Right.
to take this by the reins because we need all the information so that moving forward, whether trash happens or not.
Yep,
Right,
we know
because
what-
MS4 is coming down the pike,
right.
and the fact that the tickets from the police department were not in the system, and now they're getting entered in the tax collector's office, but the other one you brought up was the tickets for your 21D tickets in the health department
Yep.
that are backlogged, right? So, and that's a different menu within Munis that is there.
Okay.
You just have to, either, I know,
This is
we
exactly
were
what
already
I'm talking
paying
about.
for
Oh,
the
yeah.
service
This
for
is
the
exactly
collectors,
what-
and they weren't using it.
This has
So-
to be fixed.
I didn't know that.
Right, well, like, to my knowledge, if it's there and it's active, we're paying for it,
Okay.
so, it's kind of stupid to have a software that we're paying $500,000 and we're not using the bells and whistles. Some of it, though, is not, like you said,
None of
it's
them,
not the best product, it, I don't, you know what I'm saying? It has its own issues.
Thank you very much.
I just have one question. This ARPA funding that Mark keeps talking about, how quick is that accessible? Can we?
very,
Immediately.
Immediately?
yeah.
So does it have to go to the town council
You
on
have
the
to go to-
27th?
you have to go
And
to-
it could be voted on that night and then the money could be there?
You have to
The
go to the
money
ARPA
that-
committee.
ARPA committee, and then to
So
the
I
town
have
council.
already put in for ARPA
Oh,
funds.
so we're all set then?
I don't know if I'm gonna get it, but I have put in for it.
Well, you'll get it. You're persistent. I know we'll get it.
I put in for $500,000.
Yeah.
Plus,
Yeah.
I've already talked to Counselor Adams. He said, "Are you looking for some royalty funds?" I said, "Yes." About $1 million in royalty funds,
Okay.
$500,000 in ARPA. That ought to be enough to at least get this
Get
started.
it rolling.
Yes, so we have some kind of cushion in there.
Right, right.
So that's
I
what I put in for, and that's what I'm gonna recommend to the
And
council.
if we
Go
throw that in
ahead.
the revolve, in the fund that we're trying to create, and that can just start.
We can call, and we can
forever,
call it a
essentially.
capitalization, trash capitalization fund, and it would take 2/3 to get that money out of there, so if
Well,
anybody's
if
worried.
we create it as an enterprise fund, then that will start the fund.
Right, okay.
That will allow us to do
If we
Right,
go
and then
there.
if there's a cushion later on and there's enough there, you could, as a council, vote to take it from the enterprise fund and put it back into the
ARPA,
royalties,
for example, yeah.
if that's,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
not in ARPA.
I don't
ARPA,
think
we
we're-
keep it.
I don't think we're gonna be doing that, but go ahead.
Okay, a question here is, we're trying to keep things in the enterprise fund and in the category of the billing.
Right.
Correct.
And not to just come out of taxes. I think that was the kind of the goal from the
Yes.
survey
Right.
reviewed, is not to be out of
Right.
taxes. But there is municipal collection that's gonna be coming out of this.
Right.
I'm wondering, can this billing kind of generate a bill? And I don't even know, do you do that now
Yeah,
for water and sewer? Do they go into?
Each department gets billed
Yeah,
from one.
get
So the
bill.
school gets their water and sewer bill,
Yep.
the
Yes.
fire department gets their water and sewer bill. So we
Yep.
can
Yep.
easily say, if you need 2 carts, then you will have 2 carts in that department.
Right.
We can just kind of give them like a cart cost per department. And would that be, do you have to
Oh,
have a
okay.
separate line item for that if that was gonna be?
Well, I didn't know that was, so these are
You're
government,
introducing a new.
government.
I know,
Idea,
I wanna
yeah,
add
I
this
mean,
in.
I just
Yeah,
wanna
so I
say this
didn't
is a
think
new
about
idea.
that. I'm dealing with residential.
I know.
So the government,
Should
yes,
not just be a matter of creating a bill code, a charge code.
right,
Yeah,
create
exactly.
another one
So
that
it's
says
possible.
government toter. I don't know.
Alright, so
I'm just saying, if there is already a water and sewer bill going to that department.
Yes.
Then we can it's just gonna be automatically on there, it's like,
Correct.
Well, it's
well,
up to the-
you
to the
are,
owner, right?
one building might be, like the fire department literally is just 1 cart and a recycling cart. The library is 1 cart and 1 thing. but the DPW might need 4, you know, because it's a dumpster kind of thing, and just to have that amount
Right.
coming out of that budget line item versus the whole budget line item.
So that's a department head
Wouldn't that be up to the
conversation.
hauler?
Yeah, that's a very
This is how much I'm
different,
charging you to pick
than
up that
what was
dumpster?
proposed.
No,
We
that's
have-
not-
we have it.
This is totally internal.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Anna,
just like the town hall pays the water department for water.
Yep, okay.
But it's a completely
It's just trying to
internal
keep
transfer.
the accounting
Yeah.
easier. The town still taxes are paying that, but it's coming out of that line
budget
item.
line
So
item.
you need an answer from us by at least a week from tomorrow, correct?
Yeah.
On
For
whether
what?
to do a test or not.
She needs to
Oh,
attend
I
the
have to
assignment.
do a test, I can't,
Doing the test no matter
it's already
what.
booked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's already paid for.
Alright,
Yeah.
But I can't do a test until I have general ledgers. There has to be general ledgers, put in general ledger numbers, put in the live environment by this Tuesday,
Okay.
by the
So
town
who do you need
accountant.
to, who would do that, town accountant?
Town
Is
accountant,
she here?
Christine Russell.
Okay, can we get her in here to have part of this, as part of this discussion?
So
available.
if you guys wanna call her, or,
You want to go check?
You could, please? Yeah.
yeah, and if Victor
if she
is
can
here,
do it,
that
it's
would
on
be
our
great.
Victor,
Yeah.
Victor
on
and
the subject of municipal trash,
Go ahead.
do we consider the amount of trash produced by the town's various facilities so substantial that it requires that each facility gets billed, or do we just include it in the overall?
that's
Well,
how
I
you
know
do
the
water and
DPW has dumpsters already,
Yes.
Right.
so it's
Do
like,
they-
why would they do a toter, you
All
know?
of the municipal buildings
You
have
know?
Exactly.
dumpsters and toters now.
Well, I think
With
it
his
was,
help.
We could.
it's actually simply it's a budgeting thing, because exactly with the water and sewer things is it just helps, it just makes sure that we're appropriately attributing who's using what.
Alright.
That's all it is.
Okay.
It all,
that's-
as she mentioned, it all comes out of the town taxes.
And that could also help to say, hey, promote recycling. Like the
That's
fire
true.
department
That's
might
assuming
say,
that
yes, we
taxes
have
are
a bin,
gonna-
but nobody uses it. Well, if it comes out of their budget that they have 3 trash bins, then they'd say, hey, I'm gonna use the
Correct.
recycling.
So this,
Right.
you know, the 3 or whatever, the 12 dumpsters that the school has, that comes under the school budget.
It would.
It does.
It does.
And the school
doesn't?
is also covered by
The school's not
We don't have tax.
Well, it would.
It's
Well, I
just
mean,
a cost.
it will come out of the, I'm sorry,
Yes.
it will come out of the budget.
Yes.
The fire department, it'll come out of the fire department's budget. If they need it dumped
Yes.
twice a week, it'll
It-
come out of their budget.
Exactly.
It depends on how, that's what we're proposing, that you do
Right.
it that way. Some others just keep everything in the tax base, so it's kind of hidden. We're trying not to have stuff hidden in the tax base.
Yeah, well,
We're
if it's-
trying to have it in the enterprise fund where it is lined out.
I just want to point out that, like, for example, with the school department, for example, the school department always has line items for, say, what the assessors do, what the
Correct.
what the
Yeah.
accountant,
They have
tax
GL codes,
representative
yep.
do, all of those things.
Yep.
They're all just internal transfers.
Right,
Right, it's
Okay.
town money.
Yeah, it's all
right,
town money.
so,
So why is
Before-
Victor here?
so this is Victor Rule, if you don't, he
Why
is
is-
our
why are
IT
you here?
manager.
I was told that there was a question about Munis. So that's
Yes,
all.
yes.
There's lots
I
of
may or may not be able
So,
to answer.
first of all, he just recently got the super admin rights, because people are leaving. So he has super, because that used to be Will Canoyer. So he has super, so he can see all our tickets. When we
Congratulations.
open, yeah, congratulations. Welcome aboard, right? So, the other thing though is our upgrade from 2000, which is what they were asking for, if there's a cost to go from Munis 2019 to Munis 2021.
No.
Or is that in the
It's
contract?
part of our agreement.
It's getting cheaper already, let's do it.
Okay. Now,
So I
what
will
is the
be-
timeline?
I don't know.
You
what
are
that
the
is.
super admin. Huh?
I
That's
will
what
be
this
doing the
committee
update because it's a lot easier now from the version we're on to the next version. So it's just something that has to happen after hours, of course, and scheduling and making sure that
Everybody's off the system.
well that and the system's prepared for the update, which I've started to do a little bit of that. It's not anything major per se, but as far as timeline, I don't know yet as far as that
What
goes.
if you ballparked it?
What?
Weeks, months, years?
Uh,
No, just,
No.
no, serious.
Some towns are 6 months out to get their upgrade.
So what do you?
no, we're not that.
Yeah, we're not.
Because that's the case in which Munis has to do it for them and
Oh,
schedule
okay,
it.
that, all right, yeah.
I'm able to do it myself internally because of
Welcome
access.
aboard. Sorry.
Thank you.
I have
If
girls,
something
I
goes-
haven't, we haven't.
If something goes wrong, it's Munis's
Calm
fault.
down now.
Yeah,
Calm it down.
Yeah,
yeah.
All right.
Um,
we sent
realistic.
Victor.
So if we, if I plan for it, then obviously we're gonna plan for it, but it could be weeks.
Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
All right, thank you.
okay, that's good to know.
Next.
That's
Okay.
it. That's it. Clear.
You guys.
I think that's for Francine.
Yes.
Christine.
Christine, and Christine's here, so if you guys.
All right, so you have a
Okay.
question? Okay.
Okay, thank you for coming over.
So, the question is regarding the GL numbers
Okay.
for the trash.
Hold on.
And whether it's called an enterprise fund, whatever, there's, a setup in Munis. So I need those GLs, and that's what we're discussing.
Okay.
Put in the live environment prior to this Tuesday. Today is Thursday, because I am getting a copy of the live database on Friday, or this weekend. So Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, but,
So after, from my understanding, we need the train database updated from live,
right.
but that information doesn't need to go into live, it just needs to go into the train database.
The live has to go into train or
We
test.
need to refresh train from the live to make sure train
Right.
has the most up-to-date information from live.
Right,
But as far as the GLs, those GLs don't need to go into live, they just need to go into train once train is refreshed.
right,
Because
but I
that's-
still need the numbers to load
Correct.
them.
Yes.
Correct.
So that's the issue, I need the numbers.
She's got a test scheduled.
Right, test schedule.
No,
So
and
she
I'm
needs-
fully aware because that test scheduled is in the beginning of April, correct?
Right, April 3rd,
Correct.
right.
So,
But I want the GLs in there so I can build my codes before
Oh.
that tested, before April 3rd.
no, and that's understood, and I understand the timeline. I just came back from a training where I've been for the last 3 days,
Oh, okay, yeah,
and then I've been in budget meetings and interviews all day.
yeah,
Yeah.
so, okay,
And I'm trying to get an AP warrant out.
yeah,
So my plan was to take care of that between Wednesday and Thursday of next week, because I know you need those codes, so then that would give you a month's time to work on what you need to do so prior to your training.
no, it would give
Those are
2
a week
weeks,
and a half.
1 week.
No, because this is March. That's
March,
not.
End
this
of
is
March.
the end of March.
This is end of March.
Yep,
I'm
Welcome
over
to the end of March.
We're at the end of March, never mind.
Right, we're at the end of
2
March.
weeks
For
to
the-
the
On the
Yep.
25th is, I send the file to the water department on
Okay.
next Thursday. On this coming weekend, Victor will, after hours, copy the file in, live into test or train or whatever. And then that following week, after April, whatever.
No, I thought April was May, so that's my
No,
fault. Because
yeah,
I was
we
following
got days,
I
not
was
weeks.
following when you had the email thread with the paragraph with the training dates.
Right.
When I was looking at the dates,
Paragraph.
or how the training was being funded. When we
Oh.
were getting the training from Eunice and they were looking
Oh,
for the
that's
dates.
PACE, yeah.
I was
PACE, yeah.
Pace, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm confusing paragraph with something different.
Okay.
I was looking at those dates thinking April was May, so that's my fault.
Right, so I'm glad you came. Clear that up because.
Because I was on a different schedule than you were on.
Can we
Right.
get this to her? That's the question.
Um,
Can we team up and get her done?
Yeah.
yes, we can. I've actually never created the codes prior, so I will have to open a case with Munis just for
There we go.
additional
Okay.
advice. So,
I kind of knew that was coming. Right.
okay.
Or
I-
if you can't, I would appreciate you call Karen and get it.
Yep.
Karen Harnois and have her walk you through it.
Yep, and-
Because if they're not responding,
Yeah,
I'm dead in the water
I've actually
without
had good luck with response from opening cases with them, so
them. Okay.
I'm gonna cross my fingers that I still get the same responses when I open this next one.
okay,
All right,
that's
thank you
good.
very much.
But I do have resources within the Tyler help files that I typically go to for resources as well. So while I'm waiting for case responses, I'll be in those help files gathering the data.
Okay.
Okay.
Just so
Right.
if I'm not creating them accurately, I can have the case, and then if I'm missing a step, there's
Right. I mean, I can give you samples like from water and sewer, what the setup is, because it's UB clearing and interest and, these other things, but it's the base. Do you know what I mean? Like, you gotta set up a identifier, I guess, for trash or curbside as a separate
Okay.
6-digit
Kevin
code. but-
Buxton, did you have a question?
I think they pretty
Oh,
well
we
covered
got
it.
progress.
Anybody else?
no. I was just on a different timeline than you. So,
Anybody
yeah.
else have any questions?
No, I mean, here it's finally this moving forward.
All right, I want to thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Good luck working together there and get this going.
No, we'll
Yeah,
get it done. And
I
now
know
that
we're
I'm
gonna have some asks coming up, so we appreciate it.
Yeah,
So
just-
what?
Some asks,
Some asks.
asking things of you,
Just,
asks.
can you give us an idea of, if we think of a person's
Just hit your
salary for
syllabus.
Oh, there we go.
the assessor's office, the assessor's office? Are we thinking about 60,000? What's and a full-time position if needed?
Well, you're kind of throwing this on here.
I would honestly,
I don't know. if
Those
that-
are things we can.
I would have to talk
HR
with, and
and
coordinate
stuff
with
like
Rachel
that,
and
yeah.
HR on that. That's not something
Yeah.
I'm prepared to answer at the
All
time.
right, thank you.
That'll take further preparation and analysis to see
Definitely.
what the job is gonna entail, what the job description would be, responsibilities, time,
All right,
all of that.
thank you for coming in.
You're
And
welcome.
we'll probably know that after you do your test to see how much it will really take.
I know Charlie has mentioned the idea of putting it in, as I said earlier.
It's taking a
it's
lot
putting
out of my
it in the
time now.
collector's
Now,
office
Yes.
you know, so.
To do this
it's-
billing stuff.
All right.
Okay.
So this is
I
what
don't
was
know if
needed.
he has a chance, I don't know if he's talked to you about
Hopefully
it or
this
not.
will
Yeah,
be
has
your job
It's only,
easier
he only
too.
talked
So
about
is
it
there
for
any way they could take me
No,
as
we'd
the
have
towns that do?
But it would take,
trash?
it would take the same review.
Absolutely. Can I get your email?
Thank you very much.
FFARLAND, unless the health director has it.
Yeah, but I can just give you who is just doing this kind of work.
Pay as you throw,
Yeah,
but
but,
flat fee, whatever,
yeah,
but as long as
that's what we're
they
used to
are,
do, the flat fee. Yep,
right, whoever's billing for trash,
yep.
that's
Yeah.
not included in their tax bill.
Correct.
F. Farland at Southbridge.
Yep, I got that whole.
Thank you, Francine.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
So we're gonna move on to agenda item number 6.
Thank you.
Review and discuss survey results.
Yeah, Dan left.
We don't, he's coming in now.
Okay.
You don't have to give us,
Is there any, oh, that's
we're
all
gonna do
his.
the survey results, Dan.
Yes.
You don't have to give us all the comments.
Yes, Chair,
Just
I
give us an
will.
update.
I'm gonna give you a quick update, and certainly we just collected the data, just yesterday.
Yep.
Let's start with options. Those are A, taxes, B, flat fee, and C, user fee.
Yep.
We had a total 453 for taxes, B, 450, 678 for user fee. Okay, affiliation owner, 1,137, landlord 90, renter 337 were the responses. Moving on, where do you get your town information? Meetings, town council 229, mail 805, website 477, newspaper 320, social media 500, coffee shop 72. Senior center 35, other 194. And we also broke it down with the options A, B, and C. We have owners, option A 298, option B 291, option C 528. Renters for option A were 122, option B 105, option C 85. And not to get into it, but the comments and the notes were the same, highlighting taxes, costs, and need more information.
All right, thank you very much.
I think that we should have, in hindsight, changed user fee to exactly what it is, like pay as you throw
Well, we
bag.
did put that in there.
We put bag on there.
I know, but it's, I read it the other day and it was like user fee was questioning. I even questioned the flat fee, how we did it. Flat fee, it should have been billed like water and sewer, like exactly what it is.
Well, I thought we.
There is some confusion.
The water and sewer isn't a flat.
There were a lot of notes that said they were.
Flat fee is,
Yeah.
yeah, the water and sewer is like a flat fee.
There's part of water and sewer is flat, part of it,
Yeah.
You pay a general fee and then you pay for what you use.
right, which is similar to a hybrid system we're talking about here.
Basically, yeah.
Depending on how many trash bags, property taxes, flat fee paid by property owners based on the number of housing units.
Right, so it's
User
not,
fee, how many trash bags.
it wasn't, it could have been clearer.
Maybe.
It needs to be clearer in all honesty.
I just think
Okay.
it
I
could
mean,
have
it
been
needs
clearer.
to be spelled out like you spell it
Well,
out
we're
in
gonna
Right.
send-
school, so
we'll be
people
sending out a
understand
memo.
it.
Well, I don't know if we're doing another survey. We're gonna
No,
give
but
it.
we're gonna send out
The
more
information
information.
to
Yeah,
get out
the
there.
information about-
Exactly what the three,
Yeah, not a,
it's ABC language.
Not a
Yeah.
user
not a
fee.
We
discussion.
have a
but
lot of
informational.
people that are calling or
Right.
stopping in, so we're spending some time
Correct.
helping folks to understand.
Okay.
Is that something that should go out with the next water and sewer bill?
They can't put a stuffer in the water and
No,
sewer
we're not gonna
bill.
do
No.
that.
Yeah. It's those
All right.
envelopes that are folded over, you rip them out with it.
Yeah.
It's-
Thank you, thank you very much. We're gonna move on then. Review, discuss RFP. How many RFPs have you gotten?
Yeah, they were due today at 11. We received one,
Oh, really?
From who?
Casella.
That's not
I guess
surprising.
we're screwed. No, I'm just
Wow.
kidding.
On record,
I'm just
everything
kidding.
like, damn.
Yeah, right on record.
On the record.
Hey, honorable
Boy,
Mark.
you're gonna eat that
Town
one.
I
manager,
know, I know.
the
Good
town
job.
manager's
They're not
intention is
bad
to
people, they're just
expedite the
good at what they
review.
do.
I'll just take that out of the meeting tape. Go
Oh,
ahead. So we only got one back, huh? Well, that's what it is, and that's
Yeah.
what it is.
How much?
and town manager said that
Yeah.
will expedite the review, and then, once that's done, then the price would be looked at.
So why couldn't we look at the price right away? Why, if we only got one, then what's the big deal?
Yeah, well, that's how it was laid out
Yeah.
Okay.
in the proposal to review to make sure it's, you
Yeah,
know, they've
also,
met the criteria of the
correct, if Casella
proposal.
doesn't meet the criteria, then their price is void and you have to bid it out again.
Yeah,
Yep.
Well, it's not really a bid.
it's not a bid.
And
It's
It's an
Yeah.
RFP.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a request for proposal.
Right,
Yeah.
and the way
As
the
a
RFP
30
is
fee.
written, we can actually reject it.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
We do not have, because we don't have to go to
They
bid.
gotta make sure that all those trucks have cameras on the back that can see a tick on a squirrel as it goes over the top.
I thought you were gonna say something else.
So I'm gonna do a video
That would
about in on that.
Is that it?
Jeez.
That's all there is. Right?
Okay, that's all there is for that one.
It'll function just as well as recycle bag, don't worry.
Is that it then? Is that all you have for RFP then?
Yeah.
That's
That's
it,
it, that's all
okay.
I've got for you.
All right, I put this on here, reviewed, oh, sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
question. On the RFP, I was kind of thumbing through it this afternoon, and I was curious, under item number 6 in the quality assurance, how are we supposed to actually vet this?
You'll have, I
It's
don't
it's
have
the one
that
that's
with me.
labeled customer satisfaction is our priority, when Casella has never done half of the things that's listed or doing.
Right there, Dan.
Customer outreach periodic reports, they never contact the customers for anything.
Because you're not paying for it. Yeah, I think when you start paying for it, you have a little more stick, you have a little more.
But they haven't even
What do
shown
you mean somebody's
any
paying?
effort to
We're
try
paying
to do
for
it.
it now. They filled our dump. We're paying for it.
Pretty much.
Okay,
But
Paying for it.
that's what I'm wondering, how do we, I mean, how is this going to be vetted to make sure that they're actually
Can I look
reaching out
over
to the
your
customer?
shoulder?
Sure, absolutely.
Oh, is this in the part where we're looking at references?
This is the RFP.
Yeah. Yeah, they have to show, actually, that was gonna be one of my questions to our consultant tomorrow, actually. How do we want to, sort of quantify that?
so I mean, I don't think,
Ascertain that.
to ask her these questions are probably not very fair, you know?
I think that's gonna be a
One thing
damn
that
thing.
can always come up is, you know, whatever issue that you're currently having with Casella, I know, the long list, put it into the performance standards, and just to have, you missed this, you did not provide this, and we just talked about it today, is instead of doing it before we say $300 per offense,
Yeah.
Janamine was on the call and goes, inflation, $1,000 per offense?
Right.
And then you just keep on
Well, we
take
do
that out.
have liquidated damages
Yeah.
in the new,
Yeah.
proposed
Contract.
contract. So, and, you know, that can be part of the discussion when we
And you can say,
talk to them, like, okay, how are we gonna, you know,
We gotta get Dan a
Keep these
vehicle
standards.
with the same color as the bag and a hard hat and cut him loose.
I love it.
And cut him
As a
loose.
question, is Casella doing this for other towns right now?
so Casella,
Yeah, well, they're in Worcester, right? And they do
Casella
that?
does the recycling in Worcester.
Oh, okay.
They have various programs. I don't know exactly.
Holden, Princeton.
Yeah.
Have they reached out to them?
I mean, that's what I was, I mean, have they,
Down
I
in
mean, have those
Vancouver?
towns said, are they, you know,
Are they living up
at
to
least living up to their,
the agreement?
Well, that's part of
Agreements.
vetting this proposal, that will be
Yeah.
checking the references.
Perfect.
I mean, it's something that you have had them for so long. They are currently doing the job, but they are being not doing
like
it
that.
your
It takes
way
off
because
the
you're not
moment.
paying a bill. Sometimes when you have the money standard, and that's
No, I
why
get
pay as you
that.
throw works. It's all about money. If you pay a bill and then you say every month here's the bill, and you subtract $1,000 for call issues, $1,000 for pickup issues, $1,000
Yeah.
for repair, then that takes down what they're paying, getting paid.
I think this time around, we're just looking to hold everybody accountable, whether it's us, our citizens,
Right.
and the hauler.
That's true.
you know, everybody's gonna be held to the same standard.
All right,
Are we doing our-
Noted.
so let's move
Well,
on.
and we
then.
have to enforce it,
Yeah.
and that's part
I
of
agree.
Dan
I
fixing
agree.
this.
Agenda
Day
item number
tickets.
8,
Right.
review, discuss funding mechanisms, potential draft vote if needed. I put that on there because that was part of your schedule.
Yeah.
So did you want to talk about funding schedule or mechanisms, or did you want to speak to it? Either one.
How does that, are we making a general recommendation to council and then they're gonna vet all the options over again?
What we're gonna do is make a recommendation to them,
Yep,
and then they're gonna have the final say on it.
Okay.
I don't think they're
Yeah.
gonna look at all the options.
Probably not.
I'm going to tell the council, this is what this committee recommended.
Yeah.
I might have my own feelings about it, but I'm not doing that. I'm gonna
Okay.
go there, this committee voted, and this is what they
You guys
suggested.
have to abstain.
Now, they could just say, they could reject the whole thing and say, no, we don't wanna do
Like a
anything.
subcommittee.
That's up to them,
right, okay.
so.
And we had the discussions last meeting with Waste Zero. It was surprising with everybody here that after the discussion, I was very surprised about even the naysayers in the back were like, if you make it fair, that it's per unit, 1 unit pays 1 price, 2 units pay 2, that's 2 price, 3 pays, you pay 3, 6 pays 6,
Yeah.
and then the renter pays for what they use,
To the back.
then it is the most fairest program that the landlord is paying for the kind of the container,
Yeah.
but the renter is paying for
The trash
what is
itself.
put into the material to make it that you have ownership of the trash. And it is fair. If you put out 10 bags, then there are 10 bags. We do have cities and others that do this.
Yeah.
And you can say if that household's not compliance, then it goes off a lien to, you get a fine. You don't pay for it, you get a lien on your house.
So one thing I don't understand though, and I've looked at your numbers, I don't know how many times I've looked at your numbers. $320 or somewhere around that if it's a property tax. If it's a flat fee, it's also $320. So how is that possible if there's 3 people paying the flat fee?
That is
Why
a
is it
per
the same?
household number. That is
Right.
not,
And it's
the
a,
600 is not,
it's an average number too.
Yeah.
yes,
Right.
yes.
So if I'm paying per household 300, let's just say round it off, $300, and that's one household.
Mhm.
Now you do a flat fee, and there's 3 tenants living there. Each of them are paying 300.
Not-
That's
not-
900.
No, it's like 3 apartments.
Okay.
Or 3 units.
Each
It's
Three
not
units.
like-
It's a
We call them
unit.
units,
It's a
dwellings.
unit, a dwelling place.
So that would be 900?
Yeah.
So then how does
Actually,
it?
actually, his proposal.
That's if you
is
were doing a
slightly
flat
higher,
fee.
but-
If you were doing the flat fee with pay as you throw bags, it could then, we'll discuss
No,
it,
let's
it could
hold on.
be
Let's back up a minute.
$100
I'm just
per
talking about the
unit.
flat fee
Yeah.
first. Why would it be 300 each if each unit is being charged? Wouldn't it be less?
So, I don't make sure if I'm answering your question correctly, make sure I'm understanding it. So let's take a single family home, 3 bedroom, or however many bedrooms, doesn't matter.
Okay,
That's 300.
300,
A multifamily house, 3 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 3 bedroom,
300.
300, 600, 900.
So why would it be 300 each if it's
Because-
3 of them now?
Because just because they're stacked on top of each other doesn't really matter. They could be 3 next to each other.
Okay, but now you're getting even more funding with a, with
Right, because they're
a.
gonna make 3 times the amount of trash because they've got 3 families in there.
But what I'm saying is that if you're getting 3 times the amount of funding from that house, why would it still be 300? Wouldn't it be less?
It's 900.
I know, but I'm saying each one gets 300. Don't you understand?
Wouldn't the base number be less, is what he's trying to say.
That's
Right.
what I'm saying.
Why is it- why would
It's
it be?
possible, but we don't know, we're taking a shot in the dark with no numbers to.
Right,
Yeah.
that's correct.
And so we'll have the numbers shortly. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, but I based my thing just on housing units. Each housing unit paid the same flat fee. It was the only way I could figure to make it.
Because
I thought
even
was
if you
fair.
took,
Fair.
what Steve figured out was even if somebody in a 3-family paid $900 quarterly, it's still cheaper than if they went and bought a
A
large
dumpster.
dumpster
Exactly.
on their own.
Right.
A 6-yard dumpster
Right.
and paid for that. It's still cheaper.
Right, I agree with
So,
that.
so people aren't gonna opt out.
And if you look at the
Based
pictures
on-
that Dan
based on-
has, the 1 3-family has 3 toters that are snow coned over.
Pass one
They
of
should
the-
pay
pass
900
that.
versus my 1 toter.
Exactly, exactly.
And that's what makes it fair. Yeah, she wants to see the other pictures. You
Yeah,
showed it at the
did
beginning.
everybody see those?
So,
They
that
did
everybody
not.
I saw them from a distance. I see them
Yeah.
You can
driving down
pass
the
it.
street. I
See them
don't
every
know.
day.
Yeah.
We can pass them around, but let's stay on topic here, because
Yeah.
it's a good
But
discussion.
that was a
we
good, I think you'd had a good meeting last meeting that I found, that the room kind of agreed, you have the survey that kind of agrees that you want to have a bag program, but a bag program has to be tied to something else. And the
Yeah.
flat fee, people don't like the taxes because you want to keep it, the whole thing, like we're saying, accountability, you
Right.
want to keep it, people to be aware of what's going on, that it's not hidden in the tax base, it's an
Right.
enterprise fund and being obvious, so that really has to be a flat fee.
Yes.
So you
Well,
have a flat fee,
Not necessarily, because when we went to the seniors, almost all of them said, keep it simple, just do taxes. That way you don't have to create a billing department, you don't have to worry about how you're gonna collect it. They weren't opposed to the bags, but they thought it would be better
That should be worth $900.
through taxes. And that's
I'm
what
the
they
same
said.
way, but they do the taxes.
That's what they
I
said.
want tax.
But
I know that
That's my
people here
opinion,
don't
just
agree with
taxes.
me.
I don't care what my neighbor's paying, or who's across the street paying. You take it out, you bring it in, you bill me, that's it. That's what I want.
The only question
None of these
I,
bags, none of, you know what I mean?
the question I
That's my
have,
opinion.
on the question I
That's what I
have
want.
on that, I agree, and the question I have on that is it even possible to get this into the taxes? Where we're at right now?
We would have to do it.
The
over.
previous town manager said March it had to go up.
To get on
We
the
are
ballot.
in, this is the 16th.
No, I talked to Chairman Daniel, he said that I need to make a report. If I can make it on the 27th, that would be even better, but no later than August, or April, what's the next meeting, April 13th, I think? No later than that. And if we have to have a special meeting, because it has to go to Maddie by the last week of April.
So
We need
we're
35 days to put it on the
We're
ballot.
up against it.
By law, we need 35 days
So
before
the
the
end of
election to put
April,
it on the
I
ballot.
don't know.
she said by the end of April, we have to have it.
No, I understand, but they still have to review. They still have to review it.
Well,
We
it's
still have to get it.
She's saying it's gonna
The
be-
town manager said we're gonna expedite the review,
Yeah.
and then, you know, if that pans out, look at the price proposal, and then we'll come,
Right.
you know, ready to.
maybe you can talk to the town manager before, you know, just
I
to
will,
be,
yeah.
If we wanted to make
the
a
committee can hear
recommendation
about it before.
on type of funding, how would we even vote on a multiple choice question?
I agree.
Well,
Because it's A, B, C, or hybrid,
Enterprise
so it's
fund.
4 options. That's just the account we put it in.
why don't we just do it this way?
What are you flipping a coin?
This is just a, this
Just a
is
straw
the
poll.
final vote, this is
Just
just
a straw poll, right?
Let's just do a straw poll. Let's see if this works. Taxes,
If I'm calculating right, 35 days is April 26th.
Right, which is,
flat fee,
it's tight.
It's tight, well, that's the way the law is. Yeah.
No, I get it. I'm just saying it's tight to do it. If it's gonna go in, we'd almost have to.
So you got the bags with the flat fee and bags with taxes.
Right.
So you're gonna have those in different sections?
hold on. So let's just go around the room. What would you like?
I feel like I'm in school.
My number one choice would be flat fee.
Flat fee. No bags?
My number one choice would be flat fee.
Well, do you want
My
to?
number 2 choice would be flat with a bag, like a hybrid.
Hybrid.
So put the
Put
line
hybrid up there.
together.
Hybrid. Oh,
Let's just
man.
do it this way.
That's a rotten way.
No, because we need
The bags cannot be by themselves, so that just
Right.
needs to be, so you can put bags with an F or
I would
bags
do
with a
I would
T.
do one more over here, would be
Yeah.
Hybrid.
flat with bags.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but
There you go.
Yeah.
It could
And
also
then-
be
and then-
taxes
I-
with bags.
yeah, and then that bags is taxes with bags.
Right.
The bags can't be by themselves, so can you put a T with the B bags? Yeah,
Put the T with the B.
there you go.
Tea bag.
Yep,
Boy, somebody's gonna come in, we're all gonna be in HR.
I'd go to the same situation, I'd go, flat,
Is your
but
number one?
flat with bags is my,
Flat is your number one? And
No.
this is your number 2,
no,
right?
actually, it's reversed, but I'd say.
This is only a poll.
I know.
We'll just see where we
you
are.
get to go
Flat with
twice.
bags.
Yeah, if you wanna change them.
Taxes.
Do you have a number 2? Everybody else did number 2.
Taxes with bags.
Taxes with
Taxes
bags.
with bags.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, taxes and bags.
Sorry, sorry.
We're using a permanent.
That's all right.
What's yours? No,
Flat.
yeah, you were next. You're sitting
Oh,
there.
yeah, you're next.
I'm taxes and bags. That's me.
Flat and bags.
Flat and flat. Us?
Flat with bags and flat.
I don't know.
You don't get a vote.
Yeah.
Flat and bags.
Flat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right there.
In that one. Yep.
Okay.
Same as you.
Taxes?
Yep.
So that's where we're standing right here. It looks like this committee wants flat
or
with bags.
with bags.
That's how it looks to me.
So what you can do also to for some of the for seniors to make this some of the flat fees. I like it to be flat with bags because it's more. It's how many you use. You know, you pay for what you use. You can also have a different size cart. So Holden has 35-gallon carts. We'll talk about that also. If you didn't want to do a bag, you have the 35-gallon cart. The only thing with that is it's a $55 to get a cart. You know, and so that's an extra cost.
Flat fee would be lower.
And so yeah, and then you'd have a smaller flat fee, and then you wouldn't have to worry about bags. But it's
Wouldn't still sell bags to put in your smaller tote?
it depends on how you do the program.
There'd be no need to change total sizes if it were bags.
Right.
Yeah,
There'd
so
be no-
it
there'd be
just
no need.
it would just be that thing.
That's
But
what
then
we're
you
gonna
have
get.
this problem
Taxes right
that
there.
this is still the problem that you'd
What you get
have
with
is
taxes.
if you just have a flat fee with no bags,
Good
you're
for me.
gonna still
I
have
agree.
this
Anybody
issue.
I agree.
I want a committee,
So you
I
actually
agree.
want
I agree.
flat fee
whether you
with
like it or
bags.
not,
Right.
I agree. You're getting the right to your
the,
opinion.
right?
You can have a reduced cost. You can say for a flat fee.
We
I
need
know
enforcement to
some
stop that. We don't have enforcement.
you don't. There are towns that just go by age and say at this age we're gonna say the flat fee is this, and it's just you have a reduced rate. I personally, I've had 2 seniors living with me. You know, I think that's a little unfair if you're in a family of 8 and that you just pay, the senior goes to town hall and gets the sticker, they live in the house, but there's 8 people in the house. I do think it should be economic of saying, hey, if you're in a certain situation, but you have most of Southbridge in that situation. So is it fair you just try to make it that it's not a flat fee to make one household paying 900, you know, they're gonna pay $900. You know, if you can reduce it, then the people pay it. And if you only have, you have a 3-decker, but you only have one person in each of those apartments, then maybe you can reduce that cost and they only have one bag, one bag. One toter or one bag. You could discuss that if you
That's
wanted
tough
to
to
have
See, that's
an
getting, that's
abatement.
getting very picky
That's
per
micromanaging.
person. And
Yeah.
talk about micromanaging is right. You
Landlords-
can't do
What
that.
happens if we hit
Landlords
the
would
levy?
just give you the
Okay, so-
smallest
If it
possible.
goes into taxes.
Go into
and
the
we
senior
hit the
center.
levy,
We have at the moment.
We
yes,
had like
we
14
have plenty
people.
of
The
levy
consensus was what?
not
What we
including
chose.
the fire department.
Taxes, you all want taxes.
That's simple. You need
Because
people-
we have been micromanaged. It's, we
something like
as
more like
a senior
$900,000
community
under albatross.
are being choked.
But I thought you said when you first got here is when the argument that Mark brought up is like, I didn't want taxes because I'm
I never
supporting.
said that.
Oh, she
Okay.
never said
Never
that.
said that. I
Okay.
have always been for it because when Casella came into this town, X amount of years ago, it was brought into our taxes.
Yep.
And then they screwed us over
It was.
and
never
everyone's
in the
sitting there.
It was never in the taxes.
No,
It
2007.
was before they took over.
Correct. It was in there and it was it
Well,
has
before-
been in it.
Before the
When it was a-
land.
Right, but our taxes never went
What was
down.
No, we had a landfill before Casella came.
When it was a town,
No, I
when
know.
it was a town run
Yeah.
landfill, you had taxes paid for the labor to operate that landfill.
So what I'm
Which you
telling,
still have the labor.
what the residents said to us, and I'm just telling you what they said at the senior center. I'm not talking about the whole town, but
Right.
they said, It's simpler with the taxes, it's just simpler. You don't have to worry about a billing department, you don't have to worry about collecting the fees.
Exactly.
You don't have to,
I can
they,
throw.
I don't know if they were too enthused about the bags, I didn't hear
They
bags.
didn't like the
to-
bags at all.
No.
They, when it came to the bags, they were iffy.
Yeah,
They
I
could've
said,
went either
I
way.
like the bags myself,
I
but,
don't mind the bags.
no, I don't mind.
So you can also just say is, right now you have,
Just taxes is.
you have a kitchen bag and a big bag.
Right.
If you could have the same thing like he showed you at the last meeting,
Right.
you would have a kitchen bag and a thing. It just would be the town bag and just say,
Right.
we're going orange, everything's orange, just picking a color
Right.
and being like, that is it, and you get to pay that. So, and if you are a small family, then we can make that one price. You could subsidize that. You could say the kitchen bag, or if you wanted to go even smaller, he did say, I
Yeah,
personally am
that's
not
gonna be it
think, I might say the 15-gallon kitchen bag.
15.
There is an 8-gallon,
Yeah,
you know, smaller bag, and you can say that, we're gonna make that the subsidy, and just be like, that's 50 cents. You know, and just
Well,
be
we'll
like,
see.
really, that's just,
I mean,
you
I can speak from my employment, well, employment number one point of view, going into a lot of these houses, and as you're talking about multifamily and these apartments are gonna pay this, I can tell you right now, it's not gonna happen. These people are grateful to get one meal a day because they can't afford anything else. And they're all elderly.
That's gonna be the issue. I
How many
think.
That's a
residents-
huge issue.
how
I
many
have
residents
third,
are
I
down
have
there?
40 pages of clients. Gus did it.
Yeah.
He did it right here in town. And,
Okay.
and most of these people have absolutely nothing. When I made my 120 calls on Tuesday, that I couldn't deliver meals because we closed because of the weather, are you gonna be here tomorrow? I will let you know if we're not, but we're gonna do everything we can to be there tomorrow.
All right.
And we were.
So who's paying for the rent right now for them? If there are
They
are
are.
they in a town program at all or
They
no?
are. No, they are. You know,
How many
it's,
people were
and
at when you guys went to that?
There's about
Community center,
14 maybe.
it's 14 or
What type of
15.
housing?
That was unanimous too.
some
with the
people are in
taxes.
the apartments.
Apartments.
Yeah. I mean, I have a few in the, you know, the high rise and whatnot, and those would be
15.
dumpsters, but 90, I'd say 90% of them are all in apartments. No, more than that. Yeah, more than 90%, 95.
So if we don't,
Some of them are like closet apartments.
That's to put it mildly.
so if we don't do
So that
anything,
might
and we
be
go
the
by the
best thing if
survey
you
of
did
the
have the
people,
8-gallon
then we go with the
and just
pay,
have that
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
literally.
No, because that's not gonna cover the whole thing.
it's pay as you throw in taxes, right by the survey.
Huh?
If we go by the survey,
Right
and we forget
now,
everything else and
it's
everybody's
pay as you
opinion,
throw as tax,
that's
but
the survey was the
I-
people.
I told you, I promised you, whatever this committee decides, that's what I'm gonna bring up there.
Yeah.
I may not
That's the
agree with
people.
it, but I'm going
But
to
it's
get,
not all the people, Mark, and you know that.
I know,
You know
but
what, 90% of these
I
people are
understand
so
that.
old, if they got the census, that they didn't return it. I can tell you, some of them can't even read and write.
I understand that, but I'm saying, I hear Dan,
Yeah.
and he went down there with Mike, and they, presented to, it gave information to 15 senior citizens, right, that was down there, and I hear what they're saying, and they wanted taxes, and all I'm saying is, you know, what I want, I'm even pushing to the side what I want, because it doesn't matter. I'm saying, there's a whole town survey, whether they didn't fill it out or whatever, there's a whole town survey that says, pay as you throw and taxes.
that's what
Well,
they're
by
saying.
3 votes, I mean,
It's
No,
No,
based-
no, there's
Taxes
more,
are
the pay as you,
flat.
what is the pay
Oh,
as you throw?
3.3,
That's
453 to 450,
but I'm
No,
talking.
for the pay, user fee.
For the user fee mark, it was
450.
3 votes off between flat fee and taxes. So I would say it's a push.
It's
Yeah.
close.
It's a
Yeah.
push. And then you clearly, the majority of people want to see some kind of access.
453.
Yeah, that's, no, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Taxes
The
453.
user fee, the pay as you throw was
Pay as you
678,
Yes,
678, so that's what I'm saying. But the pay as you throw has to be that and taxes.
Well, what I'm saying is the difference between taxes and the flat fee vote was only 3 people.
Yeah.
And I wanna know if they know that when there's a shortfall, that the bag, or the taxes or whatever, that they're gonna dip right back in there again. That's my only concern. That's my fear for the elderly, is that we're gonna give them an unstable option that the town can go after
But I thought you
So if
brought
they
up
can
the
barely
point of
pay
no taxes.
something.
They barely pay anything now.
Part of the reason for the enterprise fund is because if there is a shortfall, then the rate has to be raised on the service fee or the bags.
That's my fear of the thing is the
So I'm
un-
worried about
If
this.
you're going with
choose
using
No, I don't need all of them,
taxes,
I
if
just-
you're gonna use
Okay,
taxes,
we're gonna
then-
wrap this up
So-
then.
No codes.
Yeah, no.
Irene, did you have anything
Well,
more?
I just want to say something. I do like if you do the bags with taxes, you do not have you can. It's harder to enforce this issue. So, in that, if these are not all pay as you throw bags, yes, you try to do the fine and the thing, but if you have the flat fee, you can go right there and say illegal dumping and add it to the flat fee. And then if that doesn't go because it's part of the water and sewer, it's a utility bill, then it gets easier to say it has to be done for health reasons. It gets a lien on the house. That's what we were kind of talking about, is moving that enforcement piece. I think it's harder to tell if on the bottom here,
I'm a taxpayer, I can do that all I want.
I could tell you
I'm just saying.
what the senior said is that they don't believe that you'll be able to enforce it, of bags.
so what I'm gonna show is so that's
I
my
don't believe,
section.
I don't believe that either. I think as soon as we get the bags, you're gonna get the same thing, whether you get the cameras or not. For it to clean itself up, it's gonna take a long time.
Yeah,
And once you start billing people and fining people, what's gonna happen? Once we enforce the billing, the bags end up somewhere else.
Right, yeah. I still
So-
like the bags, believe me, I like the
I don't
bags.
mind the bags.
But that's what the residents, the seniors are
But if
saying.
the landlord's paying it
Yeah,
and the
right.
renters aren't, then we're back to free for all.
That's a good
So
point.
I have-
That's why you did the bag.
I-
That's why
I
you
get-
did
I get
that's
another
why you do a
question.
hybrid, is that the landlord pays some.
Okay, go ahead.
Why can't all this extra spillage, why can't that be enforced not to happen? Why, is there a problem why we can't stop that from happening?
I think it was being enforced for a while. And
Well,
then
didn't we
I
have
don't know what happened, but it
dumpster,
got
didn't we
away
have
from
dumpster divers?
We
There are
did for a
some,
while.
That's what I, that's what
You're doing
I know.
education on
That's
on
a different
recycling.
Yeah, but dumpsters were easier to go through.
I mean, that's, at one time, we had people going through
Yeah.
residents' bags. I mean, when the clear bag first came out, I mean, well, that's what they call them, dumpster divers.
So
then we-
You would
we
pay
need-
someone that would go through the houses, the residential houses, look at the trash and put a fine on it.
Yes,
But the fines don't get reinforced, so that's why you have that.
that's what Daniel was
And
talking
that's,
about.
this is what I am working on and I need to.
But you're gonna have
institute.
that with the regular, with the other
I
bags
under-
too.
Yeah.
You
Well,
always know
again,
what-
there's the enforcement, we have the education, outreach, and when you get past that, there's the punitive damages. Okay? And what I am emphasizing across the board with the Department of Health needs to do and has to do in order to improve enforcement measures is make our fines stick. So when
Exactly.
we issue fines and they're not paid, we have no really recourse. It's just, they sit there unpaid. It's unfortunate, and I have literally gone through what the tickets have involved over years, and it's close to $70,000 worth of unpaid tickets that have sitting there, 21 Ds that just sit there.
Why are they just
And
sitting
I have
there?
one more question. if you don't mind.
I'm
Hold on.
confused. Why are they just sitting there and not enforced?
Never ask it anymore.
And I'll answer. And to enforce this, it takes a little while, meaning you issue the fine doesn't get paid, it will be attached as a municipal lien on the property,
Yeah,
property tax. At the end of the year, it will show up on the tax, Board of Health fee or fine, 500 increments or whatever, and at that point, it's out of the hands of the health department. Somebody has to pay that, or the consequences are faced with taxes. Okay?
So it's put on the landlord or on the
Yeah.
homeowner. Okay.
Homeowner or landlord.
But that
Yes.
has not been done.
The fines have, right, we have not, the
The
town,
liens have not been
the
established.
town has never established such a lien process. And that's where I'm trying to do that, because, again, in reference to where I have served, it has been productive. And it has made enforcement much easier on our end.
it is, yeah.
I'm sure it has,
No,
yeah.
And it's certainly got compliance. That's what I'm looking at.
Why is
right?
it, why
Hold
is it so
on,
difficult to get
Hold on,
this
Gus, let
enforced as
Daniel
opposed
finish
to-
his question, then I'll come to you, okay?
when I was going through those pictures, some of those bags, you can tell that it's not just regular household trash. You can see,
Yes.
like,
Well, it's recycling, I said that
Some
to
of it
you.
is,
right,
yeah.
you
Yeah,
can see
for
where
sure.
the, you can see where the, like, where the laundry bucket is. So in other words, that excess is both going together.
Oh, yeah.
True,
The
true.
Oh, it is.
And we have many laws pertaining to the bylaws, and we can use other laws that are applicable to this. I can consider this a nuisance, and that's it. And that's all I have to do. And but what, again, the point of the matter is, tickets have been issued. That piece of enforcement has done.
right.
But those tickets aren't paid, and I'm gonna have to tell you and be really candid, the word has got out.
Yeah.
Get a ticket, why pay it?
Right.
And the increments are most are $300. I tell you, they're just throwing them away.
Is this a similar situation like Francine was talking, that you don't have the computer software?
That's right. So at the end, at what I'm used to at the end, one time a year, I take the total list of violators that have not paid. I give it to the assessors and a copy to the treasurers. And then they take that process forward
But that's-
and lien the property.
That's not the system you'd like to have. You'd like to have a system where each and every time you give out a D2 citation.
Well, we
it gets-
can count it. They again, the billing, you could do it, again, what I'm used to at the end of the year, all right?
Yeah.
To make it easier.
Right.
And it shows up there.
Hold on now. Are you all done?
One more quick thing, so if
Sure.
we're looking, for funding, I don't know if that's extra money, it's, we call them dumpster divers, maybe we look to someone, get someone on the payroll like we did before, because someone
Yes.
actually went to the neighborhoods and
Yes,
and they did
yes,
fine.
we would need more
So,
assistance,
I mean,
equipment.
this
so-
would be a part-time thing anyway, right? Wouldn't,
That's what we had originally. It
Right.
was like 20 hours a week.
yeah,
and
for
they
some
were
reason
for
it stopped and all of a
couple
sudden
years,
this
and
happened.
I don't know what happened to it, yeah.
So no matter what kind of bags you get, you're still gonna have that, because.
Again, I can only refer to the time, I
Right.
mean, I've been here, Dan, you
Right.
know that.
No, I
I thought
All
that
right,
was in your
go ahead,
budget,
Gus.
isn't it? Isn't there something in your budget for doing?
Well,
trash
again, we
enforcement?
have an individual that does this part-time,
That's what I thought.
that is issued predominantly, majority of the
Yeah,
tickets.
yeah, right.
Okay? Tickets upon
Yeah,
tickets. And this still continues. And that's my concern.
Right.
Is that enforcement. And you know, it does take time with most enforcement processes.
And I understand that.
Okay?
I understand.
All right? But the final outcome should be compliance and long, acute and long term.
Right, right.
And somebody gets the theory, a municipal lien against the property for $300,000 moving forward.
But shouldn't it be up to the hauler to
So,
enforce it?
so with a new contract
Right.
and with a bag program, we
Don't
had
pick it up.
Waste Connections last
Right.
time
We had
said,
talked- right.
Waste Connections said that he would do this for free.
For free.
Is that he works with the hauler, and the hauler says, looks through the camera, this is not the right color, and they do have the ability to check that it's a blue versus a blue that doesn't have the emblem on it,
Right.
like if it's the wrong bag, and then you write that out. I did speak to Upton, because Upton does have that, and she gets the list from the hauler, so she does that separately. She doesn't have Waste Connections do
Right.
that service. She does that. She's a little smaller, but not too much smaller. And she gives a $10, it's only like $1 a bag. She gives a $10 fine the second,
For the bag,
if I write the
I'm
letter
looking
and
more
say that.
at just not picking it up.
I
And if they want
Well,
their
if you're
garbage,
doing it automatic, that's the one thing is we're an automated program,
we're
so
gonna-
it
we're
is
gonna
getting
do-
picked
We're gonna
up.
go to the next one now. I think we're pretty much set here for tonight. Anna, do you think we'll have some numbers by the 23rd so we can have a final meeting and vote on it?
I would think so. The award is supposed to happen by April 4th.
4th, so
If not
next
sooner.
week, the 23rd, the following is a town council meeting on the 27th. I told Councilor Daniel, if I can do it on the 27th, I will. Otherwise, he said he would like me to make my presentation on April 10th. We can wait till April 6th if you want, or next week, whichever you think is best.
Mr. Chair, there's a Board of Health meeting next Thursday on the 23rd at 6,
Okay.
unless we can do it earlier. And I know town can't.
I can't be here
And
earlier.
So,
No.
I mean,
Well, we, so, 23rd, can we do the 22nd? But that, would you get the numbers by then?
We're meeting with the
Possibly,
land,
but
we're
can I
meeting
ask
with
you
the.
a
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah, you're right.
Can I
forgot
answer
it.
your question? Sure. Question? So when contracts come out of the town manager's office, they then have, well, you don't really need a contract, I guess, you're just looking
You
for
see
the
the total,
numbers.
yeah.
Where's the numbers, yeah.
Yep, we're just
And
looking
if,
for
if I
numbers.
can get the numbers too, I can plug them into here, and
Could
now
you
we have
get,
some more.
could you get Irene the numbers?
As soon as they're released, yep.
All right, so then what, how about,
Although, you know what, I do have to say, let me check on it
How long was the
because
Board of Health meeting usually last night?
those, it remains confidential until it is awarded, and it can't be awarded
till my
But I'm not
April 4th?
technical, since I'm part of the town right now.
until the town council accepts it, right?
Town council will be voting on, he wants me to make a presentation by the 10th.
Yeah, okay.
So if we have a meeting on April 6th, would that give you enough time to get it to Irene, to get it to him, and for us to have some numbers, and then we'll have a final vote on it?
It's supposed to be awarded April 4th, so.
Right.
Okay.
That's a Tuesday.
I need to check with town manager, honestly, because
All right,
as far as when that can be released, and if it's gonna be awarded, it would have already gone to town council, I would think, right?
no,
But it
No,
won't be
it
able.
would
okay.
probably be on the next agenda.
Well, we can call it a budgetary number and redact the name even though there's only one bidder.
that's
Well, they
right.
could do a special meeting too.
We could do a special meeting, but
This
for
is always a
this
special
committee,
meeting.
when can we do it? That's what I wanna do.
Right. Let me just confirm that.
All right, I'll do a
Tentatively.
tentatively on April 6th, how's that sound?
April 6th.
Same time, same place.
Yep.
All right? If you can get it to me sooner, let me know.
Well, like I said, that the plan was to expedite this, so.
Motion to
get that
adjourn?
one.
Motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All those in
Yeah,
favor?
let's go.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll go to-